Hi, I'm Rafael.Marchante from Strums and Picks, and this video is to show you a little bit of about how to play Better Together by Jack Johnson. So the video is divided in two parts. The first half I'm gonna play the song as it is, as he recorded it, and on the second part I'm gonna go a little bit into some details about, you know, how the song was written and how to play it. So I really hope you enjoy it. Thank you very much. There's no combination of words I could put in the back of a postcard. No song that I could sing, but I can try for your heart. It's our dreams, and they're made out of real things, like a shoebox of photographs with sepia-toned loving. And love is the answer, at least for most of the questions in my heart, like why we are here and where do we go and how come it's so hard. It's not always easy and sometimes life can be deceiving. I'll tell you one thing, it's always better when we're together. It's always better when we're together. Yeah, well, look at the stars when we're together. Well, it's always better when we're together. Yeah, it's always better when we're together. All of these moments just might find their way into my dreams tonight, but I know that they'll be gone when the morning light sings and brings new things. For tomorrow night, you see, they'll be gone too. Too many things I have to do, but if all these dreams might find their way into my day-to-day scene, I'd be under the impression I was somewhere in between, with only two, just me and you. Not so many things we got to do, or places we got to be. We'll sit beneath the mango tree now. Yeah, it's always better when we're together. We're somewhere in between together. Well, it's always better when we're together. Yeah, it's always better when we're together. I believe in memories, they look so pretty when I sleep. Hey now, and when I wake up, you look so pretty, sleeping next to me. But there is not enough time, and there is no song I could sing, and there is no combination of words I could say, but I will still tell you one thing, we're better together. So here we are. We're going to learn this piece called Better Together by Jack Johnson. The song is in the key of F, but we are using a capo which we are putting on the 3rd fret of the guitar. Because of that, the shape we're going to use for the first chord, which is the chord of the key, is a D shape. Okay. So yeah, bear that in mind. If you play a D chord with a capo on the 3rd fret, what you're actually playing is an F chord. But for the purpose of learning the song, I'm just going to use the names for the chords and the notes as if we were playing open. Just bear in mind those are not the real names for those chords and notes. But for the purpose of learning the shapes, it's useful because when you play open, you want to call these D, you don't want to call it F. Okay? So so just be aware of that. We're using open names. They're not the real names of the chords. So the song starts with the D chord. I said that the song is in the key of D, and before I get into the chords, I want to explain that the main feature of this song is a descending bass line that actually describes the D major scale, and it goes like this. It's all played with the thumb. It starts on the D string open, then it goes to the A string on the 4th fret, which is a C sharp. Then it goes to the 2nd fret on the same string, which is a B, and then the A string open, then 3rd fret on the E string, which is a G, 2nd fret on the E string, which is a F sharp, then E string open, which is an E, and then it goes back towards D via the open A string. And that is all the notes in the key of D. So D, C sharp, B, A, G, F sharp, E, and then instead of finishing a tone below, because we can't do that because we have a capo, we go back towards the high D over here on the D, on an open D string. Now each one of those notes goes with one chord. The first one is a D chord. The second one is still a D chord, but it has a C sharp on the bass, which has that sound. Then it goes to B minor, so B on the bass. Now this shape here is a B minor 7. It comes out of these typical bar chord that most of you may know, or may be more familiar than with the other shape, but they both work fine. So you can play the block chord like this. You can play it without the pinky, then you play a 7, or you can just simplify it and do bass note and a basic triad. What happens here is if you do this, you're literally holding a D shape through the 3 chords. D, D over C sharp, B minor 7. It still has those 3 notes that you have on a D major chord. Then you play an A7. Then you play a G major. I'm putting my first finger, but I don't need to if I'm finger picking because I'm not actually playing that string. So I'm just playing the thumb on the E string and my 3 fingers are on the bottom 3 strings all the time. Then this one is a D over F sharp. Now what's happening with this shape is a D major chord, but it has F sharp on the bass. F sharp is what we call the 3rd of D. If you think of the top and the bottom strings of the guitar being the same note, 2 octaves apart, because this is an E chord, this is an E string, this is an E string as well. See how on your D shape you have that 2nd fret on the E string. Therefore that same note is up here. So what we've done by playing these note on the bass is moving the bass from the root of D to the 3rd. It's still a D major chord, it's still the same sound, it's still the same chord, but a different sound because it has the 3rd as a lower note. Okay, after the D over F sharp, we play E minor, which during the video you will have seen me play with no fingers on the neck. The reason for that is that the thumb is playing this string, and the 3 fingers are playing the bottom 3. So if you look at an E minor shape, those fingers go on the A and the D strings, which are not being played in the finger picking. So I can play it with no fingers on there. It's fine, it's still the same chord. Okay, and then we go again to A7 before we start the whole process again, D. So these repeats through the verses of the song. And I'll play it slowly now that I've done the explanation of the bass line and the chords. I'll play it slowly. Okay, it repeats quite a few times through the verse, and when it's going to go to the chorus, from that A7, we start strumming. And now we're going to use bar chords like this. Okay, remember that you have all the diagrams and the tabs on the website. So if you have any doubts about this, if you can't work it out by looking at my hand, you can go there and have a look at exactly which finger goes where. Okay. So from that A7, we will play a bar chord on the 4th fret. It's what we call a chromatic descending passing chord towards G. So we'll play it up and then slide down to G. Okay, this is the choruses are basically moving between G and A, but when we move back to G from A, we use G sharp as a passing chord, and it sounds like this. You strum it up and then slide it down. Okay, so the rhythm. So from the ending of the finger picking, so G chord, D over F sharp, E minor, A7, and A, and then again, descending to G, and back to A. So we're gonna go, after the A7, we're gonna go to the 4th fret and play a block chord like this. It's an F-type chord. We're going to strum it and use it to descend into G. So you strum on the G sharp, which is the chord we get on the 4th fret, and then slide down to the 3rd fret where G is. Then carry on and go back to A. And then again we use G sharp as a passing chord towards G. And then we just go back straight to the chords of the verse. In this part, I do my finger picking is slightly different than where during the singing, and this is to resemble the piano part in the original song, where the piano has this kind of arpeggio with the descending. It reflects the descending bass line as well. So earlier I was using my 2nd and 3rd fingers together like this. So it would be thumb 1, 2 and 3 together. Now I'm gonna split them and I'm gonna use 1/3 after the 2nd. So now it's gonna be thumb 1, 2, 3. For every chord with every bass line. So another consideration to have when playing this part, if you want to do it like this, you can obviously do the same as during the verse. But if you want to do it like this, then another consideration to have is the fact that the highest note on every chord is going to be heard against the bass line that's coming. Okay, so for example, I'll play D, and that last note is played. You still hear it when the bass note comes in. So sometimes in some of the changes, it makes it a little bit more awkward. Like for example, now after playing the C sharp, I'm gonna move my bass note to B, but I want this note to still be heard. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna approach the B minor sequentially. What I mean by that is I'm gonna move one finger at a time rather than trying to change the whole lot of fingers. Okay. In that way, I can still hold this note while playing the bass note, and then once the bass note is in, then I start reorganizing my fingers. Okay, so it works like this. This is the same, but now I'll go around it once more. hope that's clear. If you have any questions about this, please do leave a comment, and I can expand on it a bit more. But just to restate it, it's all about making sure that your bass line is in on time, while the last note that you hear from the previous chord, it still remains. So in some cases that means that you're going to put your bass note down while half the other chord is still on, and then start moving your fingers towards where they need to go to play the new chord. Okay, so that's most of it. What's left is the intro and the outro, which are two melodies played in what we call fourths. Now, what a fourth is an interval. It's a distance between two notes. Okay, the guitar is tuned in fourths. So if you play a note in one string, say the E string, and then you play a note on the next string down, the A string, what you're playing is an interval of a fourth. So E, A. We say that A is the fourth of E. And this comes from major scales. Okay, if you play the E major scale, the fourth note in the scale would be A. Okay, so within the D scale, which is one of the key we're using here, the fourth would be G, for example. Okay, but anyway, it's easy to play fourths in guitar because all you need to do is play two consecutive strings. Okay, so like the E and the A. That's why in the opening you see me just sliding this kind of shape around. Okay, we're gonna play a melody, but we're always going to be moving the two notes together to play that melody. Okay, so we start here. This is, I mean, when you get a bit too far from the capo, it becomes almost easier to think of it as real fret numbers. But I'm gonna keep it with the number of the fret above the capo anyway, because to keep it consistent. Okay, so here is our capo on the 3rd fret. The first note of the melody is 3, 5, 7. It's on the 7th fret, and it's played between the D and the G strings. Okay, so you put I sometimes do it with my 3rd and 4th fingers. Sometimes I do it with my 2nd and 3rd fingers. It depends. I rarely do it with 1st and 2nd. I find that a little bit more, I don't know, awkward. Anyway, so you got your 2nd finger or on the 7th fret of the D string, and your 3rd finger on the 7th fret of the G string. You play those notes together. What you hear is what we call a fourth. Now, we're not going to necessarily play them both together. What we're going to do is play one note, slide to a new place, and then support it with its fourth. Okay, so it sounds like this. That's the beginning of the melody. Okay, so they always move together. It just depending on where you. I'm plucking with my thumb in my 1st finger, so my thumb is on the D string, and my first finger on the G string. So I pluck with my thumb, slide up, and then support it with my 1st finger, and then play with my thumb again and slide down. Okay, that's the beginning of it. And then again with the thumb is always going to lead the change. So you play your thumb. I'm going to slide 3 frets down. Sorry, yeah, 3 frets down to the 4th fret, and then 2 more down to the 2nd. And those are all the positions I'm going to use. I'm going to repeat moving back up. So 4th, 7, 9, 7. Okay, so it's always the same. The thumb leads the way. It begins and finishes a position, and when it finishes, then it slides to the next position. Okay, if you like. So it's always thumb, 1, thumb, slide to a new place. Thumb, 1, thumb, slide to a new place. And those places are the 7th, the 9th, the 7th again, the 4th, the 2nd, the 4th, the 7th, the 9th, and the 7th. That's the end of the melody. So now I'm going to play the melody slowly. It goes. that's the intro, and then it begins the song. In the outro, it repeats that same thing exactly. So it does 7, 9, 7, 4, 2, 4, 7, 9, 7, and then it changes strings. It does exactly the same thing, movement in fourths, but this time it's going to use the E and the B strings. It starts again in the 7, but this time it's going to change position. It's not going to follow the same position. It's going to do 7, 10, 7, 5. Sorry. Let me remind it. Okay, so that's it. 7, 10, 7, 5, 7, 10, 12, 10, 7, and it finished with a slide. And this time is the only time that he actually plays them together. That's 7, 5, 7. Okay, so I'm going to play that melody again slowly. The beginning of it is exactly the same as at the beginning, alternating thumb and first finger. And only at the end it plays both at the same time. It goes like this. So, one thing I said earlier is that the guitar is tuned in fourths, and I just wanted to clarify that that is the case for all pairs of strings, except for the B and the G, because those two are slightly closer. Many of you may know that, some of you may not. So I just wanted to clarify that. I'm gonna run through the bridge of the song. It's fairly simple. It just uses chords that we've seen already. And then I'm just gonna have a quick run through the parts of the song slowly, just linking them up. Okay, so you have a chance to see more or less how it all flows together at a slower speed. Okay, so the bridge it's got two parts, and one of them is sort of new, although it's got chords that we've seen already, and the second part is just like the chorus. Okay, so the beginning, it starts with E minor and A7. It goes around those chords 4 times. And then it goes back to the choruses chords, which are, as you know, the descending chords from G sharp to G, back to A. Okay, and then it links back to, at the end of the, one feature of this song that's not very common is the fact that it goes straight from the bridge to the outro. There's no, after the bridge, there's no repetition of anything. It just goes to the outro. Well, actually, the beginning of the outro is a repetition of the intro, but there's no repeating and chorus verses or choruses. Okay, so let me just run through the whole thing for you slowly. Not the whole thing. I'm not going to repeat everything. I'm just going to run once through each section. Okay, so intro. Verse. Once more. Bridge. So I really hope you enjoyed that tutorial, and I really enjoyed delivering it. And just wanted to mention that if you have any questions or any comments, any suggestions, there's a comment section below where you can drop your whatever your ideas, and I'll be happy to also communicate with you about them. If there is anything, any other songs or pieces that you would like to learn and you would like me to cover, also let me know via the comment section. And if you want to have access to the materials, diagrams and tabs of the song, then click on the link to my website. There is an entry there where all that material is available for free. And there's also my contact on Skype, where I teach people around the world. And so if you would like to have a lesson on Skype, I'm available for that. And yeah, I hope you have a great day, and I hope to see you soon. I will be uploading more material soon. Thank you very much.